happy to be joined by the host of the best football show in the nation, Good Morning Football, on NFL Network, and an expert on fantasy football, Kay Adams. Kay, thank you for joining. How are you doing today?
Are you kidding? Thank you for making time for me. This is going to be so much fun. I like your studio setup. It looks great. And I love that you love Good Morning Football. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. It's an awesome show. I just love tuning in every morning with Kyle and MJD and Peter. It's just such a great show. But let's get right into it. Super Wild Card Weekend, doubleheader on Saturday, triple header on Sunday, and a Monday Night Football game. And I mean, yeah, it's going to be so much fun. I just cannot wait for it. And I just want to talk about the matchup that has really everybody enticed, the great rivalry in the 90s. After 27 years, the Dallas Cowboys, the number 3 seed at home, take on the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday at 3:30 Central Time on CBS. And the 49ers, they made it into the playoffs somehow by beating the Rams down 17-0 in an epic comeback. They're able to get the win 27-24. I mean, it was a game-tying drive by Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, he just flat out got it done on that final drive. He threw that touchdown to Juwan Jennings, and then they kicked the field goal in overtime, forced a Stafford interception, and won the game. And, going down the stretch, I think the 49ers, they really got into their groove. They got Elijah Mitchell back last week, and, Deebo Samuel, I mean, he's literally doing everything, and Trent Williams is going to be back. So I saw that you picked the 49ers to win the game. So, I mean,
I did.
Yeah, so what did you think the 49ers need to do to be successful on Sunday?
I picked them, and I thought it was going to be some very, I'm so cool. I'm picking this, upset. And it seems like everybody's picking the Niners because of what you're saying, because they have the momentum and they have Kyle Shanahan. And we know George Kittle, what he can do. Deebo, how can Dan Quinn stop Deebo?
Yeah.
It's almost like they're trending in different directions. I know you're a Texans fan, but you know that Cowboys team, everybody does. And their offense is still the number one offense, but it looks different. It's taken a step down from what it was the first half of the season. That's not what I'm confident in going into the postseason. I want somebody that's hot right now. There's not a team hotter than the Niners. And what they can do is, what they usually do, or what I'm used to, is get a lead early and sit on it and run the ball. But last week, like you're saying, Jimmy Garoppolo, he showed us, man, this team is really dangerous because they're not afraid, even not 100% with his arm hurt. He came through, he held command of the offense and did it when he needed to get back in it and seal the deal. So that was a playoff game for them. They're in it. And I think the way to win is to sort of keep the ball on the ground. As much as I like Jimmy G, it's a very opportunistic Cowboys defense. They're going to try to get turnovers. Jimmy G could easily lose the game if he does that. So throw, but use Deebo in the run game, get cute, unload the bag of tricks, and Shanahan's the perfect guy to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the trenches are really going to decide the game between the Cowboys and 49ers. I think, like you said, they have to be physical, run the ball, probably no turnovers. I mean, the Cowboys defense, they lead the league in turnovers. And then defensively, I think they should really have to get after Dak Prescott in the pocket with Bosa and Armstead, and that pocket with Dak Prescott. I mean, you're getting Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins. It's a really good offensive line. So I think it's really going to be that trenches and pass rush. I mean, the Cowboys themselves, they have a good pass rush. You're talking about DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory, and then Micah Parsons, who's really all over the place. And personally for me, the Cowboys I think are 3-point favorites coming into this. So I think the Cowboys are going to win by 4. In my opinion, I think they'll win 24-20. I think they might force a couple of turnovers. That their pass rush is just so fast, and I think they can come after Garoppolo that way. And you also made a really good point about the Cowboys. I think during the show at some point where you mentioned that they really haven't had like a signature win all season.
They're 1-4 against teams with double-digit wins. The only win that they've had against a team with 10 wins was the Patriots. So yeah, there's this, past the Niners, how far can they go? That would be the question.
Right. I mean, I saw all their wins. I mean, they had 6 wins against the NFC East, and then you have the Chargers, and then the Vikings, and then they beat the Panthers, the Falcons, and the Saints.
Okay.
So I mean, I just not really sure. Are the 49ers the Cowboys? Are the Cowboys actually? I mean, how far can they really go? Are they actually real at this point?
It's hard. Let me ask you, what do you think? Everyone talks about Shanahan and everybody talks about their offensive coordinator, how he'll be driving up plays, and they have this weapon in Debo, who you're mentioning, trick plays into the end zone to Juwan. Does Kellen Moore, you think, have something? Does he have what it takes? Because they do have, you can say what you want about Mike McCarthy. He won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, he won it with Aaron Rodgers, but I mean, yeah, so I don't know how much it was maybe with Mike McCarthy or how much it was with Aaron Rodgers, but I mean, with the Cowboys, they've definitely done some trick plays this season. I've seen a couple of nice plays with Kellen Moore. I
Really?
think what
They did that early, right? I like,
yeah,
they need to bring that back right now.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they put up 51 against the Eagles last week, but again, I just don't know. Dak threw 5 touchdown passes, but it was against backup. So I mean, I think they're trying to build up some momentum, but again, going up against higher competition, we'll see what the Cowboys will do. I think really with the Cowboys, I think you'll kind of see how good they are early. If it's going to be the good Cowboys team, they
Yeah.
may put up double digits, but if not, they may put up like only 3 points. I mean, it's just really
Oh
hard to
no!
it's just so hard to decide with them.
It's definitely hard, but it's almost like, Dak Prescott, Jimmy Garoppolo, Dak Prescott, Jimmy, like, is it that simple that it's just
Yeah.
pick a better quarterback? That would be Dak and this Cowboys
Yeah.
offense. But we know if they're clicking, Zeke, I think, looked the best he's looked. I know you can say what you
Right.
want about the Eagles, but he looked the best he's looked all season, averaging about 5 yards per carry last week. That offensive line's going to protect Dak. I know Bosa's a thing that sort of offset. So it might just come down to airing it out and throwing it. And I do obviously trust Dak exponentially more in those situations.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a really great passer this season. Definitely, I think a candidate for comeback player of the year,
Oh, yeah.
especially how he played in the season opener against the Buccaneers. I think he's going to be, I think he should have a really good game. I think taking a look at the 49ers secondary, I don't think it's really the strongest. And taking a look at the Cowboys wide receivers, I mean, even without Michael Gallup, you still have Amari Cooper, you still have CeeDee Lamb, and then Cedric Wilson, I think is going to be a really big factor in this game. I mean, you saw the game that he had against the Eagles too.
Yeah. Great. I mean, I don't know the score. I won't give you that. I think the Niners upset, but I think it's only because they control time of possession and they keep Dak on the bench.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the next matchup is Raiders at Bengals. The Raiders squeaked into the playoffs at the number 5 seed, and the Bengals at number 4. I see you got the AFC North champions. You're a big Bengals fan, aren't you now?
I wouldn't say a fan is a fun word, but they sent me some stuff, so I thought I'd show it off.
Oh, awesome.
I really like their team. I really like their quarterback. I like the energy of the fan base. I think they're very excited. They know they've got something about their future. They don't pick apart everything that goes wrong. And so with this game, I mean, this might be, so you tell me what you think. This might be the game of the week.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be really fun to watch. I think a high offensive game could definitely be in store. And, the Bengals, the 3 J's, I like to call them the 3 J's, Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, and Jamar Chase. I mean, those 3 are just really insane. And then you're talking about, don't forget about T. Higgins and then Tyler Boyd. So that offense is definitely at the next level right now. I mean, Joe Burrow is really playing really, really well at this point. Definitely one of the better quarterbacks in this league at the moment. And I just don't think the Raiders will be able to guard all those guys in the secondary. And, I'm not really sure if Derek Carr can keep up. Derek Carr's been good, but, can he keep up with Joe Burrow, who's playing arguably better than him right now? So, I mean, I'm riding with the Bengals. I think they're going to win 34-23. And, I'm going to hop on and I'm going to go bold. I'm saying the Bengals will reach the AFC Championship game. That's what I'm saying.
That's incredible to hear.
Yeah.
Welcome, and thank you for the support. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on Joe Burrow and protecting him, because that's my biggest fear, right? My biggest fear is that they took Jamar Chase, one of your 3 J's, and they didn't take Penei Sewell. And we know that Joe Burrow is not 100%. He's had, obviously some time. He didn't play week 18 to rest, but last time we saw him, he was banged up a little bit, dancing around the locker room. And I just think that Max Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue are a tough draw for him.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure that the Raiders can do with Max Crosby, I think is definitely going to be a big deciding factor in this game. I mean, the Bengals, they have a weaker offensive line. They didn't get Penei Sewell. They got Jamar Chase, a great LSU connection between those two. And, I definitely think it's panned out. Jamar Chase right now to me maybe probably the offensive rookie of the year. I don't know if you'd compare him to Mac Jones, but
Yeah.
we'll see. They might maybe have some quick passes in store instead of maybe holding on to the football too long. But I just think the Bengals, they have too much explosiveness that I think they'll overcome that.
Well, the first time they faced each other was, I think, week 11, and
Yeah.
Joe Burrow didn't throw a ton. They won the game, but it was all Joe Mixon.
Yeah, Joe Mixon.
And he was really doing his thing. And if I do think that they're playing their best football right now, but it's so funny how, like, with this game, so much equals that, like, cancels itself out. They're both inexperienced. They both have equal pressure to, their fan bases are thirsty and they really, really want these wins and to get into the postseason. You've got, I don't know. It's the Raiders side. Hunter Renfrow looks unstoppable on the other side. Like, you can say what you want about Jamar Chase. And they've got this X factor where everything has gone wrong for them and they just keep pushing through. And I always think that's dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, the Raiders, I thought they were dead in the water a couple of weeks ago after losing to the Chiefs, I think 48-9 or something of that sort. But I mean, they just keep fighting. This Raiders team just doesn't go away for whatever reason. I mean, they definitely have some great heart. And like you were saying, both these teams, kind of relatively new to the playoffs after some time. The Bengals making it, I think, after 6 years. The Raiders making it for the first time since 2016. And it's Derek Carr's, I think, his first playoff game. So, I mean, it's going to be definitely really fun to watch.
And they haven't won. The Bengals, it's his first playoff game on Derek Carr's side. And then the Bengals haven't won a playoff game since 1990.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Long.
Yeah, I hope they get the win because I'm picking them to win the game. So
let's go.
Yeah, they got to rule the jungle on Saturday.
It'll be Icky Woods. I'm telling you, I went to Cincinnati. It is so excited. It'll be so much fun.
Yeah, of course. We'll see if they can get the win. And then on Sunday night, the Steelers, they're taking on the Chiefs. And I think you guys are talking about it where Kyle said the Steelers had a 9% chance to make the playoffs. And then the Colts lost. And then they were able to get it done in overtime. Big Ben came through and that huge drive in overtime. And Chargers Raiders, I mean, that literally almost ended in a tie. I literally could not believe what I was watching at that point. But
wait, what were you thinking during that game?
Yeah, so I mean, I was watching it. I thought it was over, but I had belief in Justin Herbert that he could probably come through once more. They're down by what, 15? And, Herbert drove and he had that great pass in the end zone, the first touchdown, and then the 2-point conversion. I was like, okay, they have a shot. And then on the last play of regulation, he gets another touchdown. It's like unreal at this point. And, I thought it was going to end in a tie, but Josh Jacobs, I guess, had other ideas on 3rd and 4. So.
I know. I mean, that's the thing. Like, the Chargers, I love you. I'm a huge fan of them, but you had a problem with your run defense all year long, and you didn't address it or fix it. And it's to me, like, it's not about the time. It's about your run defense could not stop Josh Jacobs. Like, that was the rule for me. But if I'm looking at that Steelers Chiefs game, I don't know. Najee's obviously a bright spot. We'll see. I don't know. What do you make of it? Let's hear you first.
Yeah, so I mean, I saw Kyle, he had a recipe for how the Steelers can
Yeah.
a bunch of steps. I was taking a look at that, and then some of the stuff that I saw, I think TJ Watt definitely has to make a huge part in this game, probably at least 2 sacks. And I think the Steelers are 14-1-1 when TJ Watt has 2+ sacks in a game. So that needs to happen. I think the Steelers have to use Najee Harris. He's going to have a big game. They need to have time of possession because you need to have Patrick Mahomes on the sideline for as long as you can. Big Ben can't have any turnovers. And on the other side, the Steelers defense, they have to force probably at least 2 turnovers on the Chiefs offense. And I think if they can do all of that, that definitely gives them a chance. But it's just going to be so tough for them. I mean, I just really don't know, how it can be possible at this point because the Chiefs, they've adjusted. They started using the short passing game. The defenses aren't allowing them to go over the top like they used to. But now the Chiefs are going methodically down the field, long drives down. And I think that kind of makes them more dangerous now because they can do both. They can have the big shots to Tyreek Hill or Hardman, and then they can keep going underneath. And one thing I'm concerned about is that defense because the defense, because they've given up some big plays to the Broncos, to the Bengals, because I think one thing that they can't do is allow the deep one-on-one matchups. I think Chase Claypool is somebody who can really get those one-on-one catches. I think that could kill them. So I think they have to take advantage of the one-on-one matchups, because Jamar Chase, you saw what a crazy day he had
Yeah.
against the Chiefs, but I just don't think it'll be enough. I think the Chiefs win by 10.
I was asking Jamar, I did this interview with him, and it's so
Okay.
funny when you do an interview, it's like 15 minutes usually, and then they chop it into like 90 seconds. And so I always get so upset because I'm like, no, put this out there. There's good stuff here. Put it out there. So I was talking to him a lot about how close are you, and Joe, like how much freestyling and ad-libbing goes on back there, because obviously there's practice like Aaron Rodgers and what Devontae Adams do that takes years and years and years, and they sort of have that same chemistry. And he really made it seem like Joe Burrow will call him out if he's not communicating correctly, or if he's not, like Jamar was very almost like reverent of his relationship with Joe, where he's like, we communicate all the time, but we still work on it every day. And if I do something wrong, I'll run to the huddle and he'll explain exactly what it is. And they have these open lines, and like that's so impressive with what the Bengals are doing. But if you're looking at like the Chiefs side of things, the Tyreek Hill factor is something I'm sure you've heard Kyle bring up about how he thinks he might be a little bit slower or older or whatever it is. But that's what you're saying, that my whole point is what you're saying, like just because they're different doesn't mean that they're a worse offense, doesn't mean that they still win and be competitive. I think they're a little less dominant just in the AFC, but in this matchup, they should walk all over the Steelers and get a win. The only thing to me the Steelers have is this sort of looseness because it's Big Ben's last ride. Nobody thought they would grab the final wild card spot. It was a great story, and they can go wreck shop, and it's not going to affect the legacy of Mike Tomlin or Ben Roethlisberger. Whereas we look at Mahomes and we say, we paid you a lot of money to be this guy for a decade, to be the best in the game. You can't lose. And so I think that's a little tougher. But yeah, I want to see. I mean, I worked the preseason for them in the sidelines, and there was a lot of questions about the offensive line, which has looked awesome. Like Creed Humphrey, absolutely balling. Trey Smith, it's all sort of working and gelling. They've got a couple issues that they're dealing with right now. But like a big question was Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't think he's playing, right?
I think he started practicing. I'm not really sure if he's.
Good. We'll have to keep your eyes on that. Although they do have depth. They've got Gore. They've got Williams. They've got some guy. McKinnon is there. But I would, another receiver has to step up. And that was a huge part of the preseason. I haven't really gotten the answer to that question. Is Hardman a true number two?
I think it's Byron Pringle. I've seen some videos out of Pringle.
Great, dude, I love it.
Yeah, he's super cool. I mean, I saw that move that he put on the Steelers, that touchdown, I think in week 16 was incredible. So I think, he's kind of stepped up, kind of become that number two. They used to have Sammy Watkins. Now he left, he went to Baltimore. So they'll need some guys to step up. I think they have to maybe start using the running game a little bit more. I think Darrell Williams, to me, has been pretty impressive in what he's done. So hopefully they can rely on him too. To get
that's the thing with the Steelers. If they lose, like that your future's uncertain with Ben. Yeah. But you've got Najee and you've got TJ, and you've got these two pieces that are so, like Najee's like, especially over the past month or so. I mean, he hasn't fumbled once. He's completely trustworthy. I thought that for sure he'd lead all rookies in catches, not all running backs in catches. Like he's done is so amazing. And like, that's a free agent quarterback after this year. I know you're a Texan fan, so you're figuring out your quarterback situation. Like what better world to walk into where you've got Mike Tomlin, who's stability. It's a coaching spot. So few teams have that. You've got, obviously it's an elite franchise. It's stable. And you've got Najee Harris as your best friend out there. TJ does his thing on defense, and you get this weapon that you can hand it off to or throw it downfield to. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, Najee has just stepped in there right after the draft, and he's been such a great running back. I mean, very physical guy. I mean, he just stepped in, become their running back number one. I mean, it's very impressive to watch from him. And moving on to the next matchup on Monday night, you got the number 5 seed Arizona Cardinals going to Los Angeles to take on the Rams, who dropped down to number 4. The Rams missed out on the number 2 seed and could have faced the Saints, but now they face their rival Cardinals. And, JJ Watt, can JJ Watt come back for this game? And, I had the first interview with JJ after he got injured. So
what? This season?
Yeah, in December. Yeah, I connected with JJ, so I got him on the show actually.
What did he say?
Yeah, so that was right after his surgery, and he said it was going well at the time, and that he was doing as much as he can to get back on the field, and that he was, feeling good. I think that was around Christmas time. So now he's practicing, limited, but hopefully he'll be able to get on it. It'll be a great journey for him. What he's done in 2019 when he came back for the Texans was big, and I think we might be seeing something like that. So, JJ, he's definitely very resilient. I think I've seen that from him quite a bit. So hopefully he'll be able to come back. So that's
so cool that you got to talk to him. I haven't talked to him this season at all, but I always question with, I champion the Cardinals. I think that, Kyler Murray, I think he's just as good of a passer as Patrick Mahomes. And I think he uses his legs in a way that could surpass what Lamar Jackson has done as an MVP. So the key to me, truly, if he's performing at his best, is the best athlete at I shouldn't say that, best quarterback talent wise out there. The question is always when they get in these spots where it's not going their way, there's some sort of panic that sets in, or there's some sort of hump they can't get over. And it's like, what is that? And I don't know if it's a coaching thing. Obviously it's a Kyler Murray thing, truly. But I'm always like, man, if they still had Larry Fitzgerald, like, would that be the locker room guy that sort of gets them over it? And I don't know if that answer, but I do know that JJ is that guy. And JJ was crushing it on the field before that injury. So I wouldn't be surprised, he takes such good care of his body and is so meticulous. There's only so much you can do, but if he can come back and make an impact on the field, but it's going to be that spark that they maybe need to give them the confidence to go and execute, because it's going to be tough without DeAndre Hopkins. I feel like this whole offense has looked a bit less comfortable without there. And DeAndre certainly, he hides some of the things that I think go wrong. Now their run game makes me happy. James Conner has been a revelation and one of my favorite stories of sort of perseverance and that resilience, to the point of what you were saying on their side. To me, it's, can Cliff call the right game? Cliff struggles mostly in his career up against Sean McVay. I think he's gotten one win over him, right? So it's there's all of that too. There's like this inner, Shanahan beats McVay, McVay beats Cliff. So that's all super interesting. But with this game, like, I look at it and I say, Stafford, are you that guy? Are you that guy that's not going to throw the interception when you can't throw the interception?
Yeah, I mean, he's thrown like 17 interceptions, I think, this year. I think, which is one of the highest of his career. I think he threw like 19 one year, but still, I mean, he's thrown a lot of pick sixes that, that have come at big moments in the game. And, he's just going to have to be careful with that ball. I mean, the Rams thought he's that guy. They got him from the line. So he has to, get it done. And like what you were saying about the Cardinals offense, I think without D-Hop, it's been difficult for them. They haven't been able to have those big explosive plays. They haven't been able to, do things that well as that they used to do before. And I think what they might have to do is Kyler's just going to have to use his legs more. I mean, it's just so hard to tackle the guy. He's going to have to just put it on himself, I think, at some point. Hopefully James Conner will be good. I mean, he's just been outstanding. And, it's just so hard to take a pick in this game about who's going to win. But, right now I'm just leaning towards the Rams at the moment. I just think Aaron Donald could be like a game wrecker at this point. Getting pressure on that offensive line. And there's secondary with Jalen Ramsey. There's no DeAndre Hopkins, so you can just lock down the next guy if that's Christian Kirk. And I'm not really sure about the Cardinals defense as well, where they can hold up on the back end with Cooper Kupp. So we'll see what happens.
I think AJ Green's going to have a role in this one. I said it on the show today. He had a role the last two times I think they've played each other. I have my Nickelodeon slime socks.
Oh, nice.
And so I'm going to say it, the Cardinals, but this game could get away from us and it could be so wild. But I just don't know that Matthew Stafford has to prove me wrong before I sort of buy in. And I think when things are, when he is forced into throwing, he makes the wrong decision. And I've seen it over and over again. And I hope that maybe like Cam Akers is back and Sony's back and everyone's excited. And Cooper's obviously going to do his thing and McVay doesn't flinch. But there's just something about Stafford that I think, in the playoffs, he'll throw a pick six week 4 against the Jags in a bad spot. And what is he going to do on this big stage? And I think, he can't really deny that. just kind of what happens. But how great will it be if he doesn't do that? Leads his team to victory. What if they end up playing in a Super Bowl in their backyard?
Yeah, that would be crazy. I actually picked the Rams to win the NFC. That was my Super Bowl pick, actually, Chiefs versus Rams. And I had the Chiefs winning. But, the Rams, they looked so great early on. And they kind of went, kind of in a bad stretch there. Odell Beckham's been a really great acquisition for them recently. And, we'll see. They definitely are stacked on both sides of the ball. It's just a matter of time. This is the time where you got to step up. It's the playoffs. So
Yeah,
we'll see if they'll be able to get that done.
totally.
Yeah, and then the next matchup is obviously 9 degrees in Buffalo. Got the number 3 seed. Buffalo Bills taking on the Patriots. Third matchup between these two teams. And Mac Jones only threw like 3 passes in that game where they won 14-10. And, I'm not sure if he can be able to do much against this number 1 overall Buffalo defense in points allowed. Are they going to allow that to the rookie again? And the last time the Bills played the Patriots, they won convincingly in Gillette 33-21. And I think that Allen to Dave's, Stephon has been incredible against the Patriots, I think, throughout his time in Buffalo. And I'm not sure, maybe, can Mac Jones handle that 9-degree kind of temperature? And I think the only way the Pats can really win is if they run the ball well with Damian Harris, because the Bills are really not the best run defense compared to their pass defense. But I think the Bills will hold on 21-13 over the Patriots.
21-13. I gotta write these down so we can check how it goes after this week.
Yeah.
Case. Do you think Josh Allen's good? Will be good in 4-degree cold?
He may have to start using his legs a little bit more. I think last season he definitely was incredible, but this season, early in the season he wasn't as good. But I think Josh Allen, I think he steps up to the moment. I don't think they're going to be definitely not passing a lot in that kind of temperature. I think he's going to have to use his legs a lot, and I think that may be kind of like a key moment in the game.
I just think the difference is Devin Singletary. I've been saying it all week. He's been a revelation in them. I just like, sometimes when teams get or offensive coordinators, they get sort of stuck in their way and they don't adjust. Like you have to, that's what Bill Belichick does the best, right? He adjusts to what's going on, the matchup, whatever, the weather, whatever, zigging and zagging, whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And this team just wasn't running the ball. Like they just, and I said to myself, this team's not going to make the playoffs, this Bills team, if they can't run the ball. And then for whatever reason, they got their, they got their butts kicked by the Patriots. And then, it's almost as if whatever happened, they decided, this is the idea that we're going to really turn to, because I don't believe Devin Singletary didn't have it. They just didn't go to him. They weren't going to him or Zach Moss necessarily. And they were airing it out because, they obviously have a cannon, but that cannon's different in October than it is late in the season.
Yep.
So them starting to lean on the run is such a, it's such an obvious, but sometimes tricky, like Doug Peterson struggled to do with the Eagles. And now you see Sirianni, now they have the number 1 ground game and it works for them. And it presents a huge matchup problem if they can get running, and you have to do that against the Patriots in this sort of weather. So I think it'll be a big Devin Singletary game. I can't imagine the Bills losing this game. And the only thing because really think about it, the only thing on the other side, Bills, defense, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, like Sean McDermott, all of it, home advantage. The only thing is Bill. Does Bill have, is that experience that he has, which looms large over everything, is it enough to overcompensate for a rookie quarterback who hasn't looked good? It's not like he's, like Mac Jones, he's not running into the playoffs on fire. He's not.
Yeah.
So that's if Mac Jones had a lights out last 5 weeks, if Mac Jones had 2 back-to-back 500-yard games like Joe Burrow did, I'd feel differently. But it's hard to pick the Patriots in this one.
Yeah, the Bills defense, I just don't think they're going to allow the Patriots to run the ball the entire game like they did in that game in Buffalo. And I just think, they're not going to lose to the Patriots in this game. I just don't think that they will at this point. It's too
you have them going pretty far. They're losing to the Chiefs. You have them?
I'd probably have the Bills losing to the Chiefs in the divisional round.
It's fair.
And then, because since I said I had the Bengals reaching the AFC Championship game, I thought the Bengals would go into Tennessee and get the win somehow. But we'll see what happens. But the next matchup is obviously the Eagles. You're talking about them. They have the best ground game in football. Jalen Hurts, he's been the best rushing quarterback in football as well. And I think that's really, how the Eagles may have to try and win that game using their running game, keep Tom Brady, on the sideline, have great time of possession, and then they're going to have to try and get pressure on Tom. And that's really difficult because the Buccaneers offensive line, I think they've been really great. They've been really good last season. But again, the Buccaneers have a great run defense as well. So I think they're able to counter what the Eagles can do well. And I think the Bucs should just win this by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, Matt Hamilton on our show. He's our researcher. He's our finest producer. He's been with us since we started the show. He does a couple of the DraftKings segments that get into the nitty gritty. And he was watching so much tape on that run defense for the Bucs all week long, and watching and trying to figure out, because Devin White's one of the best in the business, of what's going on there, what's wrong there. And we heard, of course, Bruce Arians talk about it as well, with what's the story, like what is not going right with the run defense, and why isn't it as stout as it was in previous years? And Levante David, obviously part of that, but there's some sort of just in his head feels like he has to overcompensate. But that said, like, it's a very lazy take to say the Bucs run defense is the best in the NFL. It's not right now. It's just not. Can it be? Sure, but it's not operating on that level. So I do think the number one run offense and Jalen Hurts legs, and Jalen Hurts, I think he's like this. I don't think he shakes. I don't think he gets high. I don't think he gets low. I think he's been benched. I think he's lost his jobs, and he is never too high or too low. In any opportunity I've had to talk to him or hear other people and what they think of him, gamer, winner. So I would not be surprised if the Eagles won this game, but I will say, obviously, that Tom Brady will not go silently into the night. And Tom Brady, just Gronk looks like I don't even know. I mean, are you kidding me? Gronk looks like 2014 Gronk right now. He looks so good. And Mike Evans, why don't we ever talk about Mike Evans? I know Chris Godwin's incredible, and I know the whole Antonio Brown thing happened. Yeah. Mike Evans, all this poor man does is put up is he does great things in the community, and he puts up 1,000 yards every year.
Yeah, I know. He put up, I think it's like a record, like the first 7 seasons he's put up 1,000 yards or something. It's crazy. I mean, the guy's just, probably one of the best jump ball receivers in the game right now.
We never talk about it. So even just those two are enough. And then Leonard Fournette's coming back.
Yeah. I mean, even without Ronald Jones, I think Fournette, he leads the league. I thought he's been doing a lot of pass catching recently, so I think he's definitely improved that in his game. He's become better at catching the balls from Tom Brady, so that's been really good for him. And like you mentioned, Levante David coming back, I think that's going to be really big. Devin White.
Right?
What?
Is he coming back for this game?
Yeah, I think Levante David.
Oh, that's good.
I think he is. I mean, I saw that he's been practicing, so
I'll look at that.
He comes back, and he's
Answer me this. Do you trust Jalen Hurts to throw?
That's definitely a tough situation there. I mean, he has Devontae Smith, who I think has been really great. You definitely need to target him, but I mean, I just don't know if I've seen enough from Jalen Hurts right now. I'm in the passing game right now. Can he stand in the pocket, take that extra hit while throwing the ball? I think it'll definitely be interesting to see, because the Buccaneers pass rush is getting healthier. JPP and Shaq Barrett, we'll see if they can both play. But yeah, I mean, he's going to have to hang in there and somehow make those throws. And right now, I'm not really sure, but you could definitely prove me wrong by having a great performance.
Okay, Levante was back at practice on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so was Gio Bernard, and so was Fournette. So they're game time decisions, but they were all out there. So that is, I didn't know that Levante, you just taught me, I did not know that he was back there, at practice. So that is huge, huge news. So are you picking the Bucs or what?
Yeah, I think they'll win 28-14.
If you thought that there would be one upset this weekend, who would it be?
I mean, upset wise, I think it could be, I don't know, could it be the Steelers possibly? I'm not really sure.
Like, how could they do that? How could they Mahomes would have to implode like last Super Bowl. Implode. They would have to just get to him in a big way. TJ.
I mean, I just think TJ Watt may just have to ball out ridiculously. I just have a feeling about that game. I just think the Steelers may come to play, better than they have. They want to keep Big Ben's journey alive at this point because if they keep winning, he plays another game. So, we'll see if they can do that.
You said you had the Rams and the Chiefs. When did you make that call, before the season or right now?
Yeah, before the season, I had the Rams.
Who would you leave it like that or would you change it?
I think, I really wanted to change it to Chiefs versus Packers at the moment, but
that's what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Chiefs Packers.
Okay. Oh yeah, you actually answered one of my questions. I was going to ask what your prediction was for the Super Bowl.
I think Packers, here's the thing with the Bucs, like they had health and then they had this run. They were running towards something, and a lot of those guys had never been in the playoffs or won, and now they've all won. It just doesn't feel the same to me. And the Packers are getting healthy at the right time. Like Whitney Merciless is getting back. They've got Bakhtiari, Zadarius, he might be back, and getting this week of rest for that quarterback's toe or whatever malady he has. And I don't know, just that, it's a lot. It's a lot to and then they defensively have been pretty good, and they're making plays and they're being opportunistic too. So I think I'm confident I would be surprised if the Packers don't make it. Packers Niners would be tough for me. Niners are a tough draw for the Packers, so we'll see. I might change my tune if that's the matchup for the championship game. But then Chiefs. If the Chiefs were to face the Bills right now, I think I'd pick the Chiefs still.
Yeah, I think I would too. I think I'd pick the Chiefs. That's like a really tough game. It's a rematch of the AFC Championship game from last year, and the Bills defense, I think their strong point is their pass defense. So, they may be able to guard some of the guys in the back end, and then they improve their defensive line. They're trying to get more pressure on the quarterback. I think that was something that they weren't really too great at last season. So I think that would definitely be, a very, very interesting game for sure. And so I wanted to also talk about the Texans like really quickly. So, recently, David Culley, he got fired. Tim Kelly, the offensive coordinator, also got fired. There are, many time management decisions that were questionable by David Culley, I think, throughout the course of the season. They didn't really change the game plan that much. Offensively, they were the worst offense in football. They were running the football, I think, too much. They could have, used the up-tempo offense a little bit more. I think that's kind of where Davis Mills was pretty good at. So did you agree with the decision to fire David Culley?
I don't know if I could say I agree with the decision. I think I can't imagine a tougher situation to go into. That said, he accepted that position sort of knowing what the deal is, right? You've got this looming issue with a top 5 quarterback in the league in Deshaun Watson. We've got roster issues. There's plenty of problems down there that he was aware of, and I think he managed it really, really well. I would love to have seen what it would look like if he had a chance to build it from the ground up, if he had a chance to, get in there and be supported and be given a longer time there. I think Davis Mills is pretty good. You tell me. I don't say you see it up close and personal and are more focused on it than me, but whenever they almost took down the Titans. I was like, this Davis Mills is not bad. So I'm super impressed with David Culley. He seems like a wonderful guy. And every week you could say what you want. We got teams at the top of the NFC and AFC that don't show up every game, that are mailing it in. I could name them and I won't, but that Texans team every week was giving what to the other squad coming in. So there's a bright future, of course. Health is an issue. What do they do with Deshaun? That's a looming thing somebody's going to inherit. But it seemed like Nick Caserio came out and said it was my decision. He took ownership of it, and he said there are philosophical differences. We disagreed, and he ultimately made the decision. I would love, it's every situation is different, but then you look at Urban Meyer down in Jacksonville, total circus.
Yeah.
And gets fired. Should David Culley suffer the same fate? Look at how different those situations are, but ultimately they're one and done.
Yeah, maybe do you think the Texans are trying to hire a guy like Brian Flores because he has that connection to New England? You think they're trying to get him now? Is that why maybe you think they fired Culley to get an upgrade?
Traeger is my insider stuff with those circles, but it makes sense, right? That's all we can do is sort of connect the dots. And Nick Caserio spent so long working hand in hand with Bill Belichick, and Brian Flores is there. I think there's 8 coaching vacancies and counting. You never know what's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another one added.
Yeah.
that list throughout the playoffs. It seems to happen that way sometimes, and expectations are great and tempers flare. Uh, so I think he'd be a good fit. You know, that was probably the most surprising firing. Brian
Yeah.
Flores
I mean,
with
I
success.
wish.
Granted,
Yeah.
yeah, not playoff success, but winning seasons. But is
Hmm.
that enough? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was building a good. I think he was building a good foundation down there in Miami, and it definitely was surprising. I think there was some disagreement maybe in Miami about him not agreeing with his coordinators or something of that sort. Um, but yeah, I mean, I was definitely surprised. Brian Flores, I think, is definitely a good head coach quality in this league. So, I would definitely be happy if the Texans hire Brian Flores. I think that would be a good move by the Texans,
And
definitely.
yeah, like there's Bill O'Brien was there for so long. He was part of that Belichick coaching. There's a lot of just
Yeah.
there's a lot of that. I was hearing Gerard Mayo. I'm hearing
Hmm.
who's
Yes.
of course I love him. He's such a brilliant football mind. I used to live in New England and cover the team, and
Yeah.
I love that he's on the sidelines and doing what he can. He can't get away from the game. So
Hmm.
I think that's somebody that I would look at as getting some hopefully some meetings or at least getting in the door somewhere. But we'll see. I mean, are you excited about the future?
I mean, yeah, I definitely do think we're building something. Davis Mills, I think he's been super impressive. Obviously, the Texans were down 21-0 at the half against the
I
Texans.
know.
Here they come, just roaring out in the second half. I mean, it's crazy. It was just awesome to see Mills show that composure, a great pocket passer when he has time. And, they put up 25 points in that second half. They came so close. I think if the Texans had maybe one more possession, they probably could have ended
Yeah.
up winning the game possibly.
What kind of coach do you want down there? What would work, or what would be your dream to see, like what that team would look like in the next couple of years? What was
Well,
it?
I mean, I think it first starts with Davis Mills. I mean, do you think he's the quarterback of the future of this team? And I think we should definitely give him another year at the position. I mean, they re-signed Rex Burkhead, who I think's been solid. You have the third overall pick in the draft. Maybe you address the secondary by getting Kyle Hamilton or somebody like that.
Oh,
Um, and then you keep, building from there, get those, hopefully you'll be able to trade Deshaun Watson at some point, get those first round picks, and you can keep building from there. And I just want somebody who can, Pep Hamilton. I think he's going to be somebody who I think is really good. He's definitely helped out Davis Mills in his development. I
okay.
think you want somebody who can obviously get some wins. Obviously they keep talking about building a culture, but I think building a culture starts by winning first of all. And they're gonna have to get somebody who I think is honest with the team and somebody who has previous experience in dealing with a rebuild. So that's what I'd hope for, and we'll see.
They
Hopefully,
didn't fire. Schrager said this today. I thought it was interesting that they didn't fire Lovey Smith.
yeah. I mean, I think one thing I'll say about Lovey is that defense team really played hard week in and week out. They played probably better than I thought, and I think this defense was playing pretty good throughout the course of the season. Obviously, against some teams they couldn't, but they played hard, and I think they're really starting to buy into that system that Lovey Smith is doing at Tampa too. So I think they're building something defensively, and I think it was okay to keep Lovey on the team right now.
Cool.
Yeah, and last question for you. So I know you're a really big supporter of MDA. So I was wondering maybe what was the reason behind your great support of MDA? I had sent a text earlier today to Mary Fiance, I think she is the PR director at MDA, and you've done really great stuff hosting events at MDA. You interviewed Naheem Hines on your show
Yeah.
about the Shamrocks campaign as well. So what was your reason behind supporting all this, and what do you hope to do to continue to support?
Yeah, credit to Naeem Hines. He chooses to support Muscular Dystrophy Association on his My Cause, My Cleats.
Right.
I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I'm not sure if you know, I think
Yeah, I think he did it too.
to muscular dystrophy and neuromuscular diseases. I was introduced to MDA by my sister-in-law. So
Okay.
my best friend from college married my brother. So she's now my sister-in-law, and she works for Muscular Dystrophy Association in Chicago.
Okay.
And she once she would just always tell me these really uplifting stories and share her work with me and what she was working on and what she was doing. And it really touched her. And I started getting, every time I go to Chicago, there would be an event and we would just sort of get involved. And she asked me, I've never run a mile in my life. I would just get out of running in high school altogether. And there was the Chicago Marathon, and they said, "Will you run the half marathon?" And I said, "Sure." And we all ran together as a big group in support of Muscular Dystrophy Association. And there's so much hope out there. There's so much evolution and progress towards treatment and solutions and answers. And I just have so much respect for people who thrive throughout dealing with neuromuscular diseases. But I do think there's so much hope and there's so much research out there and so much more that needs to be done. And it's always just been something I gravitated towards. And so after running that half marathon, that was a very special day in general. And so anytime there's something I can do, like it's always October that there's a gala, and I'll, do Good Morning Football, and I'll get on a plane and I'll get home and get to hang out with a lot of these families who really come together. And MDA is such a huge force with that.
Yeah, I mean, MD is a really great organization, and they were able to help me meet Naeem Hines, which I thought was really incredible. So I just hope to continue to support them as well, however I can. So because they're a really great organization, and it was a pleasure having you on, Kay, on my show. It was awesome, it was great talking to you today.
Promise, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, of course.
All right, enjoy the games. I hope my picks are right though, and yours are wrong. Sorry.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
Bye. Enjoy.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.